city staff has been there a long time and is really dedicated to kind of keep me straight. And more especially, thank you for the mayor and the city council who back in 2011 had confidence enough to give me the privilege to work for the city of Latrobe. I really am very appreciative also of your presence here tonight. I have 5 children. To me, Friday night's family night. It's pizza night. It's movie night. It's get home as quick as you can night because we're going to hang out tonight. And I really wanted to do that this morning. It was tough, I know, for myself. And I know for each of you, it's not an easy thing for you to have taken your Friday night. Because everybody does work for the weekend and for the time off, and here you are sort of extending your work day. Some of that for you started at 6 or 7 o'clock this morning, so I don't underestimate that. And in light of that, I will try to, as best I can, to keep things going so that we're out on time. And that we have respected your time so much, and it was valued so much that we won't be out on time. But there's so much, as you can imagine, that we want to cover tonight. And so many things that we're excited about and motivated about to share with you, including Tom Hilton, who will speak a little bit later after we get something neat. Housekeeping notes. First, as you know, you're in the Petrini Rafferty Building, the historic downtown Latrobe landmark. This was once the Mellon Bank Building, and it's gorgeous. Vince, thank you for having us here today. On a housekeeping matter, the restrooms are over in the back corner, and if you get back there, there's a neat office that has a pass-through into the vault here. And just gorgeous space. And it's also home to a number of our nonprofits, including the partner organization for this evening and tomorrow morning's activities. That's a Latrobe Community Revitalization Program. And Nick, who will be speaking with you a little bit later, is here tonight on behalf of them and, of course, his board. And what we wanted to do, as we thought about this a while ago, was with the city council and city staff and the Latrobe Community Revitalization Program have a shared learning experience, which Tom will help provide tonight, and use that to discuss kind of where we've been, what are we doing, and where are we going, in order that by the end of tomorrow we come out of here with a lot of motivated and inspired people to implement a series of prioritized projects that we'll be working on together into the future. And so that's sort of the agenda in a nutshell, but the entities that are primarily implementing those are the city, as well as the Community Revitalization Program, but many of the organizations you represent. A few minutes after Nick and I speak, I'll be calling on several of you kind of a bit randomly to give a 60-second elevator speech about what you're most proud of and kind of what you're doing and kind of why people ought to be interested and actively involved. Representative, please get a seat. There's folks with seats up here as well. Make yourself at home. Later on, we'll be having some food, pizza salad, a real family kind of affair. We'll just be moving along. You're among friends, so don't be afraid to get up and do what you need to do and take care of your needs. But I hope you enjoy your time here. One of the things I am amazed about, me personally, as a person within a family unit or within a community, is how we stand on the shoulders of the past. One of the maps that I like to keep in my office, and it's actually been in the city council chambers for quite some time, is a map from the 1960s. And I want you to take some time to find that map. That map was developed by people that maybe no longer with us, maybe are with this community, but in different stages of life and not as active as they once were. But we stand on their shoulders as they stood on shoulders of those who came before them. And it's a great reminder to me that we're to make no little plans. We're to make big plans. Not all of them will get implemented, but that's what happens. I mean, from time to time, generation to generation, big plans are made and some are implemented. And about 8 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago now, I got to meet one of the individuals who's been involved with big planning in Latrobe for a long time. A gentleman who just recently, as I came on, decided to get out of it, which is kind of frustrating because you need people like this to continue pulling the direction of success. Ron Bleimer is a guy that I met at the Smart Growth Partnership who helped get me excited about Latrobe. And tonight with Nick, council member, and the other council members are welcome to come up there, and Kenny, Please, Ron, would you come up here? We have a special presentation we would like to take the time to do. Nick, please. This presentation is in conjunction with a presentation that was made in council. Specifically, this one is from your board, Nick.
Yes, it is. It reads, Ronald W. Weimer, Chairman of the Board, thank you for your dedication to our community as a volunteer board member and a leader of our organization for 2006.
My name is Rosie Wolford. I am now the president of the Latrobe Community Revitalization Board and have been working with Ron since its inception. And Nick had asked me if I'd say a few words because I'm probably the person in the room that's known Ron the longest. Would you agree? I've been a Latrobe specialty medalist now for 31 years, and Ron retired from there. And all I can say about Ron is his tireless energy has never changed. And I can honestly tell you that we miss him around town on a daily basis, calling me on the phone. He's like the Energizer Bunny. He's everywhere and he's always doing something. Nick asked me if I could tell any little anecdotal stories about our time together, but then I realized that would be letting some of my stuff out of the bag, so I'm not ready to do that yet. Like our Fred Maltz Day and all that stuff, you remember that? But, you know, Ron, we hope in some way, in some capacity, you'll stay involved, if nothing else, as an advisor to those of us that can learn a lot from you, and we greatly appreciate all you've done for us. So, thank you.
Thank everybody. Really, it's unbelievable. This is one great city, I'll tell you. There's so much to be done. And all the volunteers I worked with were so good. I mean, they just took time and did everything. I mean, you didn't have to hit them over the head or anything like that. They were willing to help you. And there's a lot of things going on. And there's a lot of things. I used to get these 2 phone calls a week. On a grocery store all the time. So if you want to get a grocery store, I want to thank everybody, and I appreciate it. I really just thank you very much.
I'm going to awaken the computer here.
Transition a little bit. I'm bringing my water, not so much that I'm super thirsty, but for several of you in the room, you know I'm getting over a cold. So if I take you to a coughing fit, I apologize. I'll turn my head for those whose hands are shaking who might want to wash my hands first. I'm on it.
As we give a minute for the projector to wake up, Nick began to work with the Latrobe Community Revitalization Program in the year 2012. We had about 50 applicants for the position, and they came from all over. This is an economy where you get that, but it just wasn't an economy of random applicants. These were very, very, very well qualified applicants. So much so we interviewed about 6 or 7 folks and really thought a lot about it. But it wasn't a hard thought because Nick was head and shoulders above the group. Nick comes to us with a unique experience, I think, probably as it relates to Main Street managers, and that has a lot to do with industrial development, successes in Somerset County. For over a decade, he led the Somerset County Industrial Development Authority, building industrial parks and being part of job creation in that rural county to our east. He's also been involved in academia as well, Juniata College, and we were just so glad to have Nick. The roots are always interesting, even though he's from Erie and he lives out in Cambria, Somerset County. Your father-in-law worked for Latrobe, especially still, even though he had what kind of commute?
25 miles like I do.
Well, what kind of commute?
An interesting commute, 45 minutes at times. Although he bragged that he often was I think he said 3 times in 30 years did he get stuck to the point where he couldn't get over the mountain. And he had to go down through Donner over the terminus.
So Boswell's where he calls home, and that's the kind of commute he had. So you can imagine working. What great job that must have been to be able to work and do that. But that's the kind of roots we have in Western Pennsylvania. People love our towns. We love our neighborhoods. We don't like to leave them, but sometimes we need to go out to another town for an economic opportunity, and that's what your father-in-law you have taken this position. Nick, share with us a little bit about the projects that the Community Revitalization Program has, and help them understand a little bit about what you're up to.
Sure. I'd first like to thank the board for hiring me. It's an exciting opportunity. Certainly, you get more involved in the community development side as part of it. As opposed to economic development, I was building industrial parks and doing loans and those types of things, all of which are good skill sets in using this kind of thing. But no, I'm excited to be here and very thankful to the board for giving me the opportunity to serve. These are the facade projects that have been completed to date. I can easily say none of which were the result of me being here because they were all pretty much programmed done by then. So it's great to see that kind of investment in the community. Wrong one. Technologically challenged too.
No, it's a very strange story.
These are projects that we have sort of in the hopper right now that are in the conceptual stage. We're hoping to move those forward as well.
I'm sure many of you have seen the Rose Style Shop, the Dollar General improvement, right next door here.
I mean, very, very nice. It's what we're all about. It's what the difference we're trying to make in the community. So you say the left, sir?
Yes, the left.
Right here on the round? Right there? Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Just a note on the facade programs, that's a match combination of the private land property owner matching with the state grant that's administered through the local community revitalization program with kind of design standards that are particular for Latrobe. So it's kind of a neat leveraging of money and local resources.
Yes, and we're very closely with our promotions committee. Dave Olinsky's in the back. Thank you, Dave, for your hard work on those projects and continuing. Very important downtown. Beautification projects. This more falls under the bailiwick of Mr. Trunzo here, who's done just great work on those projects. I mean, getting Lloyd Avenue moving forward. You started to see benches and cans and planters coming up. Tree plantings. I'm not going to give the details. If Jared wishes to stand up and speak to those, he can. Or we can talk about it later. Community garden projects, moving forward, taking small plots value for their clients in the sense of helping them through difficult times in their lives. That's value to those individuals at that time. And in trying to make a difference, that's what an entrepreneur does. It's not just about hanging a shingle and opening up a door. It manifests itself in a lot of different ways. So that's a great thing I see in this community, was an attraction to me to stay at the organic level. I ran a program where students could qualify for up to $15,000 to go into business on their own. And that organic, and we're talking coming out of the ground, we're talking a statement on a piece of paper, like, I want to make the best side of Huntington. Okay, well, where do we go from there? What's needed for that to happen? I would assemble the tools. I would help them understand the business planning process. And that's value I believe I bring to the job here too, in dealing with existing businesses and new businesses. I'm not going to steal the SBDC's thunder. I'm going to certainly work in concert with them. But having that idea in mind is important in dealing and working with people. So, the goal is what we do. Glass half full guy. Amazing what you find on the internet and browse on it. But that's it. It's a simple statement, and I mean, we can look at that 50 either way. I prefer the glass is half full in how I look at things. What we have, here's some of our entrepreneurs. Certainly not an all-inclusive list by any means. These are just some of the individuals who I've met, who I've seen how they operate, how they become involved in our community, how they become involved in LCRP, and I appreciate it greatly. And they understand the idea of raising the water level all across the harbor. So, and that's the kind of people we need, obviously, for this beautiful facility he's invested in. The foundation with Jim Okanak and some of the other foundation support we've got. The mainstays, the steel company, obviously, Excella, St. Vincent, Westmoreland, these are all players in our community. Foundation support, our NGOs like Lincoln Highway Heritage Corridor, or National Road Heritage Corridor, in sponsoring some of the support that we need to do some of the projects that were mentioned earlier and will be mentioned as we move forward. Of course, the Commonwealth funds the LCRP program. Probably for another year and a half yet, we have to file for exit grant. Should be entertaining. But think of it the visionaries of this room. Think of yourself as all visionaries. You have a vision on how you want this place to turn out. What do you want to see grow into? And we, LCRP, is a vehicle working with the city and making those things happen, bringing the financial resources, the technical assistance, and all of that kind of thing together. So, very important. Continue to think that. Obviously, we need more entrepreneurs, and I didn't have an answer for that when I was at Juniata. I mean, you had to have a student who was a great time manager and had a burning fire inside, and you had to light that a little bit more and give them the opportunity to do the right thing and to tie them together with the correct resources. We had a mentorship program that was helpful for alums. I had some meetings up at St. Vincent. I'm going to try and grow that relationship because I believe there's a great deal of resources there we need to draw upon. Shift gears for a second. The 219 story was probably, I know there's one individual who knows what I'm talking about, probably a couple others. I worked in Somerset for 10 years, as Alex said. What was amazing during that time is I learned about how committed the community can become very focused and committed to something. In the early 70s, there was the opportunity to extend US 219 from Somerset into Maryland. My understanding, the history side, anecdotal, there were several farmers that stood in the way, never got built. Went a whole lot of years until, with the early 2000s, when we built the Myersdale bypass. And what was neat to find out during that time period that I was in Somerset is they were able to identify and bring their coalition together for that highway. Yeah, there were a lot of other projects like there are here and anywhere else in Westmoreland County for that matter. But that focus was necessary to keep state and federal officials understanding that that was the #1 issue, the #1 need for the community. It was so funny to point, after Representative Bud Schuster retired, his son succeeded him, and Bill Schuster would come to meetings and he would say, I actually have 219 tattooed on my forehead every time I come to Somerset County. And that was it. support from foundations, from governmental sources down the road, and we're singing from the same hymn in that regard. So that was my 219 story in the sense of wanting to think along those lines and how important it is to show that united front. So, Mayor, councilors,
Thank you,
sir.
Thanks, Nick. Again, I think some of you can recognize why we hired Nick. And his approach to Main Street, I think, is going to be valuable for this town for years to come. Just again, back to housekeeping. I see so many familiar faces. I want to stop and say thank you, thank you, thank you to so many of you who made the time to be here. But one of the things we wanted to be able to do for you tonight is to prepare for you some background information. So just back to housekeeping, and this folder, which in the center of it has an agenda, which we will, again, be sticking to. We're in the part of the agenda that talks about the state of the city. And we're trying to give you an overview of what's happening here in Latrobe. In a few minutes, we'll be doing perspectives from the state. And Representative Joe Petrarca is here, as well as some other individuals from representing statewide views to be able to share with you. We will be breaking for again, food, and coming back for some of that shared learning with Tom Hilton. And an amazing special treat tonight. Some of you may recognize the uniqueness of it. The PA Strong Towns presentation. There's a touring group from Minnesota who just happened to be making this journey through the state of Pennsylvania. They were in Derry Township, not here in Westmoreland County, but out in Dauphin County, where Hershey's located yesterday. They were in Median, Pennsylvania, and a number of other small southeastern communities. And as they were making their way through the West, there wasn't much to do, I guess, outside of Pittsburgh, but we were able to flag them down and get them to be a part of our discussion tonight. So for those of you who can't stay till 8, you'll get to see some of that. Again, I do recognize not everybody's able to stay the whole time, and again, that's okay. You need to take care of those things. We're just glad you're able to share some of your evening with us tonight. You got a little perspective from the Latrobe Community Revitalization Program. A lot of the projects you even mentioned are around the room. A lot of what we will want to do in the different break times is find pockets and begin to familiarize yourself with those projects to be able to have the discussion we want to have tomorrow, which will be focused on which of these and how of these and where of these and the why of these, and so much of those questions will get accomplished. Now, turning to the state of the city. As I mentioned, I was hired in August 2011. In January 2011, January 1, the beginning balance in the general fund of the city of Latrobe was $38,000. The ending balance, December 2012, just a few weeks ago, was $568,000. We have been able to, in just 2 years, change the trajectory of this town as it relates to our financial picture. But we're not out of the woods. We may turn the corner. 2013 remains to be seen how it will play out. But we've been able to take the general fund balance from about $38,000 to $560,000. And we were able to increase the balances as it relates to the ledger for our capital budget and a number of other projects. In fact, during the year 2012, we added about $330,000 to the various other budgets. Only about $110,000 of that was to the general fund. So another $220,000 were added to the increasing of those other budget line items. One of those funds is the K-9 fund. And that's purely the generosity of this community to help us fund the program without taxpayer dollars, to have a drug dog in this community and the equipment to take care of that. But that's just a small sample of how, through really leadership focused on the issue of revitalizing and changing the trajectory of this community. For 4 years previous to 2011, this community was, for the most part, spending more than it was taking in. As you know, in your household budgets, that's not sustainable. And again, that's why we got down to that general fund balance of about $38,000 in January 2011. God had a lot to do with our success. We had a storm in March 2011. But the city was ready. Because people in the past knew that it would be important to provide good services, we had a transfer station. We were able to double the revenue in that transfer station without any new staff. With a lot of overtime, a lot of shoe leather and hard work by the dedicated public works staff, we changed the revenue in 2011, and we were able to accommodate revenue changes of double phases. 500,000 was about our typical. In the years previous, we went over $1 million. This past year, we nearly got to $1 million again. And it wasn't all storm related. See, what happened was when people experienced for the first time, some of them, the transfer station's ability to serve them as they were able to take their shingles from the storm, revitalizing and replacing their roofs, the hailstorm that damaged all this, they realized that this asset of the city was of value and saw it when they were cleaning out their basements, their garages, and every other project they could think of. And so this past year, we nearly did $1 million there as well. It has a lot to do why that budget was able to change, because the backdrop to that was a parking garage partial collapse in 2010. That crisis and the what to do next, tear down, rebuild, rehab, build new, quite frankly, created an analysis of paralysis in the short term, but with laser-like focus in the long term, led to a $3 million bond issuance and a rehabilitation of the garage, which we were able to open this past September. But, as you can imagine, the garage was closed from July 2010 to August 2011. We lost businesses, we lost credibility, we suffered much in many different ways as we struggled with what to do next. Could we afford the garage? Could we not afford the garage? But we decided to do the rehab. And so the backdrop of the windfall of the transfer station was a bleeding parking system that last year, in its gross revenue, did historic lows. And I could go into a lot of detail of that, but needless to say, while one was benefiting, the other one was suffering. But it is to the eye of the future. Again, hopefully with the garage being updated and some of the enhancements we're making to our parking system, we're open for business. Now's the time to invest. In fact, we're at the ground floor level of a 10 or more year renaissance in Latrobe. Backed by investments like the parking garage, decisions like the community college, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, Delphi, Inc., USA, their investments by Carpenter and Latrobe Specialty Steel Company, investments by the state and Penvest into a pre-treatment facility at the City Brewing, which is at full capacity in the former Rolling Rock. Tom told me today that he surveyed formally his buddies in his hometown. What do you think of when you hear Latrobe? Not Steele, Arnold Palmer, St. Vincent, or Fred Rogers. Beer is what they think of. My friends in Boston, my family in Boston, say, can you bring a case of Rolling Rock when you come up? Well, I can, but unfortunately we brewed in New Jersey. But if you want real Latrobe beer, I'll get some Iron City for you, or some other beer that's pretty good. So, again, it's pretty interesting to see those investments. We're at the ground floor of a 10 to 15-year growth cycle horizon. So what I wanted to do over the next few minutes is some of you, I've told you I was going to do this, just give us a 60-second speech, your elevator commercial of what's going well in Latrobe. Because I think a lot of people fail to appreciate the multitude of things. As Ron said, the dedicated volunteers who selflessly give to the betterment of this community. So I just want to be able to have them do that. First, I'd like to start with a special person to me. Mayor Barb Griffin has taken me under her wing, so to speak, and has, from day one, been a friend of mine and a person who's given me a lot of trust. As if she knew me, and I was a student of hers many years ago in her 5th or 6th grade classes. Unfortunately, at least if she did have me as a student, she probably would have never hired me as a manager. But Mayor Griffin, would you please share with me?
I just want to tell you, I do not have a cold. I have allergies. I get 2 shots every 2 weeks, so it's hard. I'm glad that you taught it to me, and I have a niece who graduated from there. However, I graduated from Seton Hill, so I'll let you in anyway. I lived here all my life, all people know, I guess. And so my family, we grew up here. So anyway, I ran up here. So sometimes it's been tough, but I think I said at one meeting or somebody, I've grown to appreciate the people on council. I mean, I always liked everybody, I like people, but I just, sometimes appreciate the more when we work with them. So I just want everything to work well for the city. It's doing a lot, and I appreciate Ron's work, and I'm glad that Rosie is the chair now, because I know she's done a lot of work for years now. It's a good thing to have that continuity. So a lot of nice people. I was supposed to talk for 10 minutes, and then he said, no. All those thoughts are out the window.
Thank you, Mayor. You don't have to follow Mayor Griffin did, because I told somebody you could just be where you were sitting. President, would you just give us a little 60-second plug of what's going on?
Sure.
Great intro.
First, I want to echo Alex's sentiments. We really appreciate you taking this time out to be here with us tonight. I'm a little older than Alex, so this isn't my family time, but it's my happy hour time. So I really appreciate the sacrifice. Well, not usually. At any rate, I've had the pleasure of being employed for 31 years at Latrobe Steel Company, then Timpton Latrobe Steel, then Latrobe Specialty Metals, and now Latrobe Specialty Metals and Carpenter Company. And I got to tell you, I'm really excited about what Carpenter's bringing to the community. There's a lot of growth potential here with this company, and I'm very happy to announce that in 2013 we're celebrating our 100th anniversary. And we have some cool things planned, and we're still in the process of doing that. March is actually the official start date, but it's too cold to do anything in March. So. But there's just a lot of great things here. I've been on council for going on 10 years. It's been a wonderful experience. We need more people, and we need more young people. So to get involved in all these local projects. There's so many great things going on, and I just don't think people realize what's really happening in their own community. So appreciate Alex, and welcome Nick, and thank all of you for taking time out.
Serving with Councilwoman Wolford is Ken Baldinari. He's our deputy mayor. Ken, please.
Hi, thank you all for coming tonight. I was born and raised here in Latrobe, like many of you were, and will probably die here. I want to thank Vince for doing the restoration of this building. I've told you this before, Vince. You've done a beautiful job. And Renee, I know she's espoused restoration and reclaiming our landmarks in this town. We need to do that. We need to look forward and repurpose, restore, and take some of what we have and make it better. Ron said we have a great time. I think it's a good time. We need to become great. We've got tremendously solid housing stock in this town. 90% of the houses in this town are in good shape. We need to strengthen our landlord tenant rules and regulations that govern leases and contracts between renters and landowners, homeowners here in town. But I spent my youth, my teen years on this corner every night of the summer and every weekend night through the 60s smoking pools and looking at the girls as they drove by. Like I said, I love Latrobe. I think it's a good time. It can be great, but we need to press on, and we cannot let this town fail under any circumstances. So let's put our nose to the grindstones and Okie, loosen your tie a little bit. Once I'd like to see you without a tie.
Just that quickly, I take that really seriously. I work for a council and a mayor who care a great deal about this community, and I'm privileged to be able to serve them. But I'm also privileged to work within a team. Two of my teammates, my right and kind of left hand men related to government, are here tonight. Joe Bush and Jim Boomar, John Brazili, all the JBs I've got this town. But anyways, I get to work with these guys. Them, along with Barb Buck and so many other people, Matt, Alan Smith, I can go on and on, have just with open arms welcomed me. It's a challenge to lose a friend of over so many years. As our former manager, Rick, he was let go of his position and relieved of his duties. And it was very awkward to come into a work situation where that was their personal friend. Believe it or not, this is kind of interesting. Rick and I share the same birthday and the same start date, except different years. But Jim Boomar and okay, is been a person as the chief of police that has again welcomed me as if I knew what I was doing and was ready to run, which is what I needed, and gave me the support as if, again, I was his long colleague as well. Jim, I'm so proud of what's going on with the police department. We had a great letter to the editor just a few weeks ago about a person who's paid taxes all their life here and so forth, but never appreciated what she had until her house was robbed. And within a matter of days, people were caught. But immediately, she was taken care of, not only by the dedicated staff that you have, but our canine was able to secure her house and make sure she was able to be safe in that house. And again, within a few days of communicating with her and working the kind of work that they do, the professionals that we have working under you, the people were caught. So to just talk a little bit, 60-second commercial, what's special about the Latrobe Police Department?
Well, Alex, you're putting me on the spot. I've been talking to these people before you speak. No, it's a privilege to be here tonight, and it's also a privilege to talk about my department. I have 11 officers under me and 1 canine, and our police department has came leaps and bounds in the last 2 years. We're in the process of accreditation right now through the state. Our canine unit has raised close to $40,000, has purchased a brand new vehicle. We also sport a brand new fleet of vehicles. Probably have seen them around town. The training is top notch. I send my officers as much as I can to as much training is available out there. Our crime rate is steadily dropping. And I couldn't be more proud to serve a town and a department in the government that's been trained. Thanks, Jim.
I just want to say one more thing. I was part of the hiring process that brought Alex in. The change that we've undergone in the year and a half that he's been on the job has been remarkable. I think this was the best hire. I've seen it in our staff, and with the same with our police department. We had a changing in the guard and police department, and at the head of this, our city management. Alex has done a terrific job. I couldn't be happier with the hire that we made, and I wish him continued success.
Thanks, Ken. Between Chief Boomar and Joe Bush, there's about 60 years of experience here with the local government. Joe's one of the best hires by far this town has ever made. When the town was in full bore, it had a lot of employees, Latrobe Toll and die casting, especially steel companies and so forth. And unfortunately, there was $120,000 jobs shed in the early 80s. That hit Latrobe as well to a certain extent. And people like Joe, who had served on the fire department, born and raised in the town, growing up in the town, serving the town, were looking for just any opportunity. So Joe got hired as a part-time guy to work at that time with our sanitation department on the back of a truck. And by far the best hire the city ever made. Who knew what they were doing at that time? Joe served as Director of Public Works for over a decade. Joe, again, from day one, acted like I knew what I was doing and would run with me. Joe's the guy who makes sure the salt trucks are out at night. He's the guy who makes sure the transfer station operates in tip-top shape. He's the person who really deals with a lot of slings and arrows of a thankless job in public works. And has done it with a staff total in the 1990s as high as like 30-some, down to like 8 or so now. It's just amazing how he's been able through that era, be able to continue to deliver services at a high level. So Joe, just give us a little bit of a commercial of what you do up there and how city's good.
Thank you, Alex. And I am very proud to belong to Public Works for 30 years here in the city of Latrobe. Alex touched briefly on our transfer station. For your knowledge, we're probably the only governmental-owned transfer station in this part of Pennsylvania. If there are some other transfer stations, but they are privately owned, but we are able to hold down on our taxes. To give you a brief history, Alex touched on, at one time we had almost 30 employees. We are down now to 8 employees, but those just aren't 8 employees up there that are collecting a paycheck. We don't have a driver, and we don't have a mechanic, and we don't have a painter. These guys know how to do it all, and they know how to do it all with pride. One of the things I like about Latrobe, and I'm kind of a stickler on, and that's cleanliness and being crisp. I even had the city manager picking up cans and litter. He was only here a month, and I see him walking down the street. That is needed. I take pride when somebody comes into Latrobe and I'm showing them around, and they say, my goodness, how clean. Our Public Works Department, to give you an idea, we have 8 men now. 2 of those are mainly dedicated to the transfer station that I spoke of. 2 of those men are dedicated mainly to being mechanics. We have 50-some pieces of equipment here in Latrobe. Many of them are emergency equipment, fire, police, that we do all the maintenance and inspections and repairs of. One of those gentlemen up there takes care mainly of our parking system. He does the collections of the tickets, the repair, the meters, the collection of the monies. Those numbers take us down to 3. That's your street department. Those are the 3. I know I'm going past 60 seconds, but I enjoy this. Those are the 3 that do your signage, that maintain your storm drains, that rebuild your catch basins, that do any curb or line painting that you see, any of the work, any of the cleaning that needs done. I'm very happy to be able to say that we've got some volunteers in this last, since Alex came aboard, to help us clean the downtown area and some sorely needed areas, because we can't do it all. Unfortunately, I have to say this, one of the criticisms that we are taking now, our department and local government, is our roads. And with a shrinking tax base, shrinking liquid fuels, it's hard to keep up with 35.5 lane miles. I only hope that one of our projects in the future is to try to find ways to pave more of our roads in town. Thank you for this opportunity.
You can hear from both the chief and Joe the pride they have in their staff. City government workers in Latrobe are not underworked and overpaid. It's quite the opposite. And these guys will stand for them because there's not a bad egg in the group that they work under them, and they're very proud of it. You can hear that, Joe. He is very proud of those. The average experience in the public works is upwards towards 18 or 19 years. That's how long they've been here. The police is a little less only because we had a couple new hires last year that brought that down. Just a lot of pride up in there. And again, just can't say enough about what they do. One of the things that we have that's really an unknown secret related to local government is the Parks and Recreation system of Latrobe. While cities like Pittsburgh try to find a way to divest themselves at the local government level from having to care and be the caretakers of all the parks facilities, creating the Parks Conservancy in Pittsburgh, decades ago, that's how we started. The founding fathers of industry in Latrobe and mothers and those involved bought land, acquired land, and built facilities that we're the beneficiaries of. Most times you go into, some towns of similar size will spend upwards of nearly $1 million annually of public tax dollars to support their parks and recreation, which is wonderful. We spend a little bit less because we're pretty good about how we stretch the dollars, but we're doing that with maybe from the school district, the township, and the city, $150,000 contribution. The rest of it is from that history. Wow, it's just incredible to think about. The lands in the town that the parks are located on are not government owned. They're privately acquired and maintained and protected. And so I just wanted Jeannie Ashley just to spend a few seconds to trumpet, I think, the model park program in the state, the multi-municipal program, multi-jurisdictional program Gene.
Well, thank you, Alex. I walked in tonight and Alex said, Gene, I need you to talk for 60 seconds about Parks and Recreation. And then he gave me a list of this long of what he wanted me to talk about. Any of you know me, there's several that do, I can talk for 60 hours. So here's what I'll say. Our program, Parks and Recreation, was founded in 1944. And it was pretty much a community effort, and we worked with the school district and the city and put together an incredible, all by community hands, a wonderful park, and then kept building and building and building and building and building on it. Not very program heavy, but pretty much just outdoor green space, park kind of emphasis. Today, we're very different. 40, how many years is that? 70, 80 years later, programs have expanded by over 300%. We have more parks, more open space, more green space. Again, via the hands of everyone, our local charitable foundations, our city, everyone participated in this. In my tenure, almost 20 years, more than $6 million has been spent on acquiring and open space, green space, and developing parks to serve our community. We're now a regional recreation intergovernmental body comprised of the city, Unity Township, and the Greater Latrobe School District. We are continuing to try to meet the growing challenges and needs that are so different today than they were in the 40s and 50s. When in the 50s and 60s, Parks and Recreation was free, it was generally funded by our local government. Today, we function more like a business, and we have to. Our funding is level, so we've grown our department through additional programming, state funding, local funding. We've been very, very fortunate. It's a great city to live in. People are envious of us. We have such tremendous attributes. Our local charitable foundations have been so instrumental in where we are today. But before then, it was the people, the community, the businesses within our city that joined hands to develop quality of life in Latrobe. So we, as times change, as needs change, as people change, we continue to try to meet those needs. And right now the emphasis is on collaboration, partnership, and growing out and reaching out and sharing the job. So proud to be a Latrobian, born and raised, proud to be your Parks and Recreation Director, and very proud of what this city has undertaken over the past, particularly the last 3 to 5 years. It's a big challenge. So we all should be proud of what we've done with our little 2.2 square miles. So thank you.
Just 3 more people will speak. There could be many more that could speak. We have an unbelievable fire department that saves the city of Latrobe about $1 million annually through their volunteer fundraising, buying equipment, and being Johnny on the spot when you're in need. They respond to the calls that are false alarms and the real deal. And they do it without any hesitation to themselves or to what they've got to do to protect the property of this community. We've got an unbelievable library system. We have so many other entities that are just doing so many good things. The churches and their long legacy. A school district that competes out of the 18 school districts is right up there in the top 3 in Westmoreland County, and in the top in southwestern PA. I can go on and on. Just the last 3 I'm going to ask will be Dan who does something which the first thing I saw when I first came to Latrobe was the beautiful gardens and the beauty of this town, the cleanness Joe mentioned. Dan, just talk a little bit about what your group of volunteers do.
Okay. We're called the Latrobe Mini Garden Project. We have 70 flower gardens scattered around Latrobe that are all staffed by volunteers. I should say, we only had 68 before you came to town. That's another story. I hope that our 14,000 tulip bulbs are enjoying the drink that they're getting today, and the 250 plants of annuals for the spring are already ordered. So, John Wendisco had the foresight about 20 years ago to start with 2 gardens. Now we're 70, we have about 30 volunteers. And keep Latrobe flowering, as the man says. We're part of the foundation.
I've given you 2. We've got a bunch more to get to you, but really appreciate it. What an amazing thing. You get that 14,000 volunteers planted those just before winter. And again, the annuals are ordered and so forth. And it's just wonderful. The town blooms. It's gorgeous. And it's taken care of. Nancy Kukovich is a bit newer to town, but no stranger to Westmoreland County, serving as the executive director for the United Way of Westmoreland County for over a decade. Nancy understands the issues that face Westmoreland County. She came really from central Pennsylvania, the United Way out near Harrisburg. Even has Minnesota roots, but we're very, very blessed to have Nancy with us. And Nancy, just give us a little bit. I actually have a drawing of the campus on the opposite side of the room so someone can look at it. Just in a minute or so. Sure. Tell us what Adelphi's up to.
Nancy Kukovich, I'm the Executive Vice President of Adelphi, and I love Pango, if you didn't know that before. And I'm going to just take a couple of minutes and update you on Adelphi. $40 million, about 800 employees, 60% of the workforce, 60% of our services is provided here in the greater Latrobe area. We have contracts with 60 of the 67 counties, and increasingly are out in Beaver, Butler, up in Williamsport, etc. But our focus is kids. 60% of the population that we serve are juvenile delinquents, and about 40% of the population we serve are kids who are abused or neglected in some way. Kids are generally 14 to 17 years old. Latrobe is our home. We're not leaving Latrobe. We have the ultimate NIMBY population though, right? Not in my backyard. But we are dedicating a lot of money, much of it given to us by philanthropic organizations, foundations that are the same folks that help all of you. We are renovating all of the group home facilities that we have. We are replacing some modular units. This is all going on at the campus, which is kind of across from Joio's. We are building a new school. We are replacing some modular units that have been on campus and whose useful life is about over. We are, as I said, renovating residential facilities. We're building 1 new facility on campus. In addition, it will be a home for offenders. We acquired the upholster building of the gym, and I hope you will see, like I see, that the new road that we're putting in between the upholster building and the Pelco building is going to be helpful. It will kind of cut off some of that traffic that is in that triangle area right by Joio's Pizza. So we're going to have another way to get into Adelphi, hopefully reduce some of the traffic that's going through there. There are a lot of opportunities for collaborating. We sure feel like when we call, you come. We hope that you will feel the same way about us. You probably have all met some of the kids, some of those scary kids from Adelphi that are out there working at seniors' houses and cleaning up stuff and painting curbs. And we take pretty seriously our obligations to do something called balance and restorative justice. It's not just that these kids are here with us for a while. They're here, and as part of it, they work off some of the damage that they may have caused to their families and communities. And hopefully, Latrobe feels that it's a good recipient of it. Challenges for us: we haven't had a rate increase in about 5 years, ever since Jim left. And so that is a challenge for us. We see that our kids are going to be much more likely to succeed if they have some skills. So we're looking for partners to develop who knows what sorts of business opportunities where our kids might be able to learn to do some bookkeeping and some customer service, things like that. another opportunity for collaboration. We've got a horticulture program that has just started. Hopefully one of these days we'll be able to supply some of the flowers that are needed in the 70 gardens around the area. And we would sure love to be part of any trail plan that might come from St. Vincent down and eventually joining Legion Keener. We would love to see it across our property, and I think that we might have something there that might be helpful for you. So we're doing the best we can in some pretty tough times, but we are a strong agency, and we are in part strong because I think we're here in Latrobe. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. I could have easily this evening given time to so many, again, other organizations, the hospital, and so many things, you know, and Nancy touched on it a bit about the giving back to those organizations. So many of the nonprofits, be they churches or those institutions I just mentioned, Delphi and the hospital, you know, they're seen as takers, you know, as they don't pay taxes and they get this. No, you couldn't be further from the truth. They are givers. They give back in community projects. They give back in free care funds. They give back in sprucing up, revitalizing, rebuilding, reinvesting, where the private sector, quite frankly, has no interest doing it. And a great example of that is the Westmoreland County Community College. In 2005, the Westmoreland County Community College leadership entered into an agreement to build a new Laurel Center out in the Kennemetal area of Unity Township. It would have been a greenfield development. It would have been easy, compared to what we've been putting them through here in the city. You just want one property owner, you just do an option, you get it, and you go. But about that time, based on the leadership of Larry Larice and so many others, the county commissioners adopted a county comprehensive plan that said downtown matter. And in that plan and in that vision, they did something different. In New Kensington first, instead of building out into Lower Borough, which would have been more of a suburban greenfield setting, they did the hard thing. And they went and built in Center City, New Kensington, building a facility. And they liked it so much, or maybe they're slow to learn how hard it is. We like it, that's good. They decided to do the same thing in Latrobe. Instead of going out into the township and easy where all the development's going in the private sector, they said, we'll be different. We'll invest in the core community because it matters to our students and it matters to us. And they acquired some property, for the first time, publicly in Latrobe. Would you share with us some of the plans that the community college is undertaking?
Sure. Thanks, Al. My name is Ron Everhart, and I am Vice President of Administrative Services at Westmoreland County Community College. And Alex and Vince, when they first approached me and said, just if I could give an update of the project, many of you, if not all of you, have read articles in the newspaper and people have talked about it. And yes, we are building in downtown Latrobe. They said, we put a 5-10 minute profile together and just give us some highlights. Then when I showed up this evening, I said, keep it to 60 seconds. So in order to be the one person that holds it to 60 seconds, any questions?
Thank you very much.
Okay. I will try to be as brief as possible. We are proud of what we're doing. We're anxious. We've been welcomed by city officials in cooperation with city officials, and I think both the college and the city is happy that we're coming, and we're really excited about it. I hope I expressed that throughout my remarks. Over the holidays, I did have a revelation. I've been using reading glasses for several years now, but I made a tremendous discovery that I can eliminate. I may be able to eliminate these forever, and that is I just use a larger font on my notes. But unfortunately, it's not as large as I should have this evening. First of all, real brief history. The community college first offered classes in Latrobe in 1979 at Latrobe High School. To accommodate growing enrollment, which we experienced, we purchased the former Kennemetal site, where we're located right now, across the creek. And we opened for classes in August of 1989. We currently occupy, we own the whole building, but we're currently using a little over 21,000 square feet of a total of 26,000 square feet of that building. So right now we're using approximately 25,000 square feet in that building. Currently, the enrollment at that site approximates 420 students a semester. During our 23 years of operation, over 14,000 Latrobe area residents have taken at least one class at the center. Alex mentioned New Kensington. We had a great experience in New Kensington. The city, we worked with the city. Our location in New Kensington was really outside of the city. It was located in the former elementary school, which had been renovated, but it still looked like a former elementary school. So we wanted a new location. We decided to move in downtown New Kensington. In working with the city, the state, the county, the facility opened approximately 4 years ago. In downtown Kensington, right next to the post office on 4th Avenue, in what you all know New Kensington, the reputation is it's a tough city, but with a lot of cooperation, in the first year that we opened, we doubled our enrollment at New Kensington. And what we're looking for is growth here in the city of Latrobe. And Alex did give you a little bit of history of how that evolved. We were looking outside in the Unity time area, but then decided to come into the city. Briefly, the college has acquired all properties on the Jefferson Street, Depot Street block, except for one, the Quick Loop facility. And recognizing that there's a business there, growing a business, and it's a viable business, so there's some obviously concern. We're not interested in displacing a business. We are in negotiations, but quite honestly, we're able to move forward because that property is not required for our plans right now. We would like to have it, but we're moving forward because it's not essential. It's not required for the footprint that we're going to be doing. Actually, site demolition will actually start within 7 to 10 days, if not sooner. We, in conjunction with the county redevelopment area, and the contract, the demolition contract has been awarded. Notice to proceed has been awarded. So you will see some dust and machinery and everything that goes with demolition of the existing buildings on that site very, very soon. The college continues to work with L.R. Kimball, who is the architect on the project. And we're proposing, and we have plans for a 31,000 square foot facility to open, which is approximately 3,000 to 4,000 square feet more than our New Kensington Center. But keep in mind that in our New Kensington Center, we also house about 6,000 square feet for the workforce career league that's in our center. A career league will not be housed in this facility. So this, the Latrobe facility will be 31,000 square feet of, for the most part, educational and community use, if you would. In terms of enrollment here, Latrobe has always been a very steady center for us in terms of the credits and the enrollment. As I mentioned, 420 on average. We don't look for a significant growth spurt like we had in New Kensington. That was unusual for us, but we do look for steady, slow to steady growth, maybe in the 3, 5, 6% range. It may not seem like a lot, but for our institution, that's a very good growth rate number. So if we can even achieve a 2, 3, 4% growth rate in enrollment, it'll be fantastic as far as we're concerned. We're encouraging community involvement. You'll see, I'll just show you briefly some of the plans. The 2-story building. On both floors, there will be a larger room that will be expandable and be able to be used in conjunction with community meetings, events. So we really, community is in our name. So we really have a lot of cooperation, expect a lot of use by the community. So we're really welcoming the community to come and use our facilities. In New Kensington, we are experienced, the city has experienced some offshooting growth around our campus, which I know Latrobe probably is a little more vibrant than New Kensington, the area of New Kensington we were going to use, so there might not, but I do expect some offshooting businesses, some small retails to be developed around our campus, our site. I'll finish the remarks by saying that the college is very excited. We are very excited, and we can just feel the excitement from the city officials. We know they're excited. We really look forward to being a good community partner. I was encouraged tonight when I walked through the front door and I saw Vince have the vault open. I digress. Okay. If time permits, I just have to run through these and open up for any brief questions.
Yeah, we're going to keep the boards here as well for the next number of days. This would be a view for those coming across the Lloyd Avenue Bridge. This would be your left-hand view as you veer towards Main Street. So this is Depot, of course, coming down. Just love the approach, the light, and really the green principles as well that Robert Kimball has incorporated into the design.
Right. Because of the way, and I'll show you the site plan here in a second, because of the way the building sits on the site plan, this is the main entrance. Here's the Jefferson Depot Street intersection up at this corner. But the parking and the flow is basically on this, towards the, and this would be the entrance that we proposed, not the main entrance, but still a significant entrance on the Jefferson Street, Depot Street corner.
So the post office would be over in this vicinity, and this would be looking towards the main line, Pennsylvania Railroad, the Norfolk Southern Railroad.
Correct. As the building sits on the site, this is the building footprint here, and as you can see, the parking and green space in this area. If we were successful in acquiring the remaining property, our plans would be to extend parking and green space, actually, because we've considered and also talked about doing some development along the walking trails, biking, green space.
In a footnote, the partnership with the Redevelopment Authority of Westmoreland County on Tuesday, April, maybe correct me, it might be sometime next week, the contractors will be on site to begin demolition. And the public service announcement I have is the alley will be closing during the demolition of those buildings. So for those of you who like the Second Ward shortcut, coming across the bridge and taking a left at the traffic blinker, you won't have it. So on Tuesday morning, Joe and Public Works will be sealing off that alley to safely be able then to do the demolition there.
Yeah, Joe's been very helpful. We're working with Joe to establish a toll gate. That's another joke. I think that's it. And then the floor plan. First floor, once again, the main entrance, openness. We're going with openness and the glass, a lot of lighting. And these are the two largest rooms. They're duplicated, replicated again on the second floor, but it's a partition that can be opened with some. We're not going to be serving food. We're not going to have a cafeteria, but there will be facilities here for catering in order to some refrigeration equipment and some heating equipment, so that if groups wanted to come in and bring in a caterer, there would be facilities here as a prep type area. And once again, administrative offices in this area, classrooms. We are proposing on the second floor, we are developing two general science type labs at the site. Once again, I'll point out the double room on the second floor, additional classrooms, and a few more offices. And openness not only in this lobby and this entrance, so that the students have lounges and wireless activity inside, outside. We plan to have a pretty far range of accessibility for wireless connection.
Ron's going to be around. I know he'll be available, I think, for a little bit with us this evening. He's allowing us to keep the plans here. This is an evolving thing. These plans were presented for the first time publicly tonight. They'll still need to go through the process of city approvals, but every step of the way, we've been a part of the designing of it, been privy to what's going on there, and been working very closely. Again, the city supports the project, wants to see it happen successfully. The partnership with the Redevelopment Authority of Westmoreland County can't be underestimated. Again, that's because of the county's comprehensive plan back in 2005, directing the Redevelopment Authority to take on kind of projects like this that would help improve the core communities of Westmoreland County. And again, April's been a big part of seeing that happen, April Copus. So, Ron, if you can be around a little bit, I know we're going to be transitioning. And again, thank you for the presentation. Again, what an exciting time to be in Latrobe. We're going to now turn to the statewide perspective. So what I'd like you to do is just, I know some people kind of filtered in, and you might want to find a seat. Where you're at, kind of step up, stretch,